Hey, what's going on, everybody? So I thought I'd hop online really quick and try to do a really quick R. Kelly video. I'll try to make this short. So before I get into this, I just want to say there is a lot of litigation going on with the R. Kelly cases, plural. He has a lot of cases. And it's not every day that you get the updates through the media. You really have to dig and search for the nitty gritty details as to what's going on with his cases. And basically, this is a two-man job or probably a three-man job. So I can't really keep up with this stuff, but I thought I would look and see what was going on with the Heather Williams case. And basically, if you want to find out, or if you're new to the Heather Williams R. Kelly litigation, you can go back on my channel and you can search for some of the videos. I have several videos concerning Heather Williams. All you have to do is just look for or search for the name Heather Williams and you can be brought up to speed. And this is basically a follow-up video to that, right? So basically, long story dull, Heather Williams has taken some of R. Kelly's chess pieces off the board, right? So R. Kelly has taken a loss, so to speak, and it looks like Heather Williams is basically winning here, right? So basically, as I can figure it out, there was a motion to withdraw, and this is the motion to withdraw for the R. Kelly lawyers in the Heather Williams case. They want to get out of this case, right? So it basically says that, the attorneys of R. Kelly request leave to withdraw as counsel of record. And they're basically saying that, all three attorneys were his attorney in the Heather Williams case, Zaid, Shadi, and Raid. And they're saying all three of the attorneys wish to withdraw their appearances, and they're saying they're going to notice the defendant, and there's an attached motion, and they advise R. Kelly to basically get another lawyer, right? And then it goes on to say counsels feel the circumstances have evolved that prevents the counsels from zealously advocating on behalf of the defendant. So, basically what they're saying is that R. Kelly's situation has escalated. Now, we can only speculate as to what that escalation entails, right? So, what we do know is that there is the government's motion to basically seize R. Kelly's assets, right? So I think I posted that in another video, and you can go and check that out. And maybe it's kind of tricky because this becomes a situation that the average man can be kind of troubled with, so to speak, right? So as an average everyday Joe Blow, you sometimes find yourself in legal problems, and it's like if you hire an attorney, you risk a situation like this happening where they just leave. Sometimes they leave because they feel that they milked you for all that they can milk you, and there's not going to be any more money coming down the pipeline, so it's time for them to leave, right? So sometimes they leave, and then if you try to represent yourself, that can end up being a big disaster because you don't really know anything about the law, and then you go into and you try to study up and you try to basically represent yourself and go to court, then you end up with a loss anyway because the judges and the attorneys on the other side won't have a respect for you, and then they'll just basically all have this under the table agreement to basically take advantage of you, right? So you really can't win, and this is the plight of the average man. But I think in R. Kelly's situation, it's a chess game. It's a serious chess game in the sense that part of this litigation is really, in my opinion, a strategy towards the bigger picture, right? So he has the criminal charges pending against him, right? So they filed this lawsuit. If you go back and watch the other videos I explain this, they filed this lawsuit before the criminal charges and the criminal indictment has completed. So to me, it really makes no sense to file this lawsuit because typically you don't file a civil lawsuit until after the criminal proceedings have finished, right? Now, of course, I'm not a lawyer, so I'm really just talking out of the side of my head, but I'm just telling you what I believe and what I think. Take it with a grain of salt. It's probably not true. I don't know, but to me, it just seems like you wouldn't file a civil lawsuit until the criminal charges have been found to be, completed, right? So it becomes tricky. And as I state in the other videos, you can go back and check it out and watch it. There's lots of pitfalls with doing this, and I explain that in the other videos. Go check those out. But now, since the attorneys have withdrawn, we end up with a really tricky situation where R. Kelly can't necessarily represent himself in this civil lawsuit, or maybe he doesn't have any money left. Again, I'm not sure what the escalation caused the attorneys in the civil suit to withdraw. I'm not sure why they withdrew, but they're basically saying things have escalated, right? So we know that the money is being seized. We know that they changed up the indictment. They delivered a superseding indictment. So those are the only two things that I can think of that has recently developed, right? The only other thing that's developed is that R. Kelly has won a new bail hearing. I don't see how they would withdraw because of that. So if I had to guess, I'm going to say it's a money issue. Maybe they were in it hoping to get compensated for their services. And now that the government is seizing the money, they believe they won't be able to get paid, so they're like, why waste time with this, right? So leave your comments below. Let me know what you think the reason is for them withdrawing from this case. I want to hear from you. I can't really figure this out, right? Because it's a puzzle. It's basic. We have incomplete information. We know that they're withdrawing. We know that they're saying that this situation is escalating. But why? Why are they withdrawing? I think it's the money. You let me know what you think it is, right? Is it the money? Is it something else? Why are they withdrawing? Leave your questions and comments below, right? But let's just move on. So they basically in the motion basically saying that wherefore the above the previously mentioned reasons, Zaid, Shadi, and Raid respectfully request the court to grant them leave to withdraw as counsel. Now, I didn't get a copy of that, but they were actually able to withdraw from the case. And then what happens after they withdraw is that R. Kelly ends up getting a default order because he wasn't able to show up to the hearing, for the continuation of this case, right? So the default order basically says an order of default is hereby entered against the defendant Robert Sylvester Kelly for failure to appear, answer, or otherwise plead. And now they're moving to prove the damages so they can basically just pay Heather Williams out. So unless R. Kelly is able to pull a rabbit out of a hat, he has basically lost this one. We don't know how much the loss will come out to, right? Because there's still more litigation to go so that they can prove how much the claim is worth. But for the most part, he's already lost this, and it's just a matter of how much he's lost, to be honest with you, right? So it may be possible for him to get another attorney and for those attorneys to come back onto the case and basically somehow defend him. And there is a specific procedure that they can use, a new attorney in this case could use to try to basically restart this thing all over again. And I talk about that procedure because it's the same procedure that these lawyers use. But I am beginning to feel that he needs to come up with some extra cash for some new lawyers. So I suspect he won't even try to continue to fight this thing. I believe it's a money issue. You guys let me know what you think. Let me know what you think it is. Leave your questions, comments below. But I really think it's a money issue. So unless he can scrape up some cash and get some attorneys to come on to fight this thing, this is pretty much over. For the most part, this is over. As it pertains to Heather Williams, it's over. She's basically won this lawsuit. So Heather Williams is probably going to be one of the first alleged victims to get paid. I think the only other thing R. Kelly probably could have did in this situation is to try to negotiate before, or he could probably still negotiate now, but I doubt it because he doesn't have any leverage. But he probably could have tried to negotiate to say, hey, look, I don't really want to go to court with this and litigate this. How much are you looking for? I'll just pay you out. Maybe now that's not really a possibility because now that they've won, they can ask the judge for whatever they want, and it's up to the judge to either grant it or deny it. I think R. Kelly possibly could just show up himself and just try to argue why the amount should be kept at a minimum. But again, once you start showing up into court, judges really, especially in Chicago, judges generally don't show you any love, So, um, yeah, so that's it for this video. Leave your questions, comments below. I want to know what you think the reason is why the lawyers in this case has withdrawn, and I want to know what you think overall about the Heather Williams R. Kelly litigation. Please share this video, like it, and subscribe.